two things that make everything a lot better in life, and that is beer and cake, and that's exactly what I'm going to be making today. I am going to be making with Underdog Hoppy Lager, a lager and lime cake. So I'm going to get my bake on. Okay, we're just going to, first of all, we're going to go in with the sugar into there, and we are going to go in with our butter, and this kind of just gets creamed together. So here we go, and there, that's just going to mix everything up, and you want to get a real kind of nice pale colour, so it's going to go kind of nearly white. Okay, so you can see there now, it's a really nice pale fluffy consistency. Just make sure you've got everything off your whisk there. And now we're going to go in with the eggs. Let me just pop this back on. Now, this is why for this recipe I use the stand mixer, because the eggs are going to go in and then they're actually going to get whisked up for about 7 minutes. What you want is for them to nearly kind of, the whole mixture to increase in volume by half. So you want it to kind of double in size. Eggs are in. So you're going to turn your mixer back on and you're going to get them whisked up. So almost like a meringue sort of situation. You're just going to beat and beat and beat and beat it till it's increased in size, lovely and fluffy. And that's when you're going to get a really, really good rise in the oven as well, because you're incorporating all that air into the mixture. Right, so after about 7 minutes, you're going to have a really nice, big, fluffy, thick yellow mixture like that. And it's time to go in with our flour. So we're just going to pop the flour in and then just put it back onto the stand mixer. Oops. And put that on low just to mix it in. You don't want to knock too much of the air out of it, so just really gently now, just to incorporate the flour into the mix. And then it's time for the beer. So Underdog Hoppy Lager, beer wise about 200 millilitres. Again, I'm not very good at weighing or measuring, but I reckon that's probably, yeah, that's 200 right there. And then we'll just pour that into the batter and get it all mixed up nicely. Now, that's great. We'll just increase the speed on the mixer just ever so slightly, just to get everything nicely mixed up and incorporated before we can put it into our tins. Now I have got 2 tins here. I've already greased them. I've put these little rounds of greaseproof paper just in the bottom so nothing sticks. Right, so you have your 2 tins and you're going to divide it equally between both tins. So I guess it doesn't really matter if a little bit more ends up in one side than the other. These going into the oven, see you in half an hour. Okay, so while our cake is baking away in the oven, we can actually get together and do our icing. So this is going to be a lime and lager buttercream, which is going to go in the middle of the cake and on top. So in this mixing bowl, I've got 500 grams of icing sugar, and I also have the juice of a lime, freshly squeezed lime. Now that roughly equates to about 15 millilitres, and I also have butter, which is 150 grams here. That's going to join the icing sugar in this bowl, and again it needs really, really good sort of 5 minutes mixing. You want it a really pale kind of fluffy white cake. We're actually going to go in with our lime juice, so that is just going to start to bring everything together. You can see now it's kind of quite powdery still, so this is the fun bit again, and you get to add in a little bit more of your lager. So again, it's kind of more of a guesstimate than an actual measure, but just for a start, about 20 mils I suppose, and then see how that's coming together. Tiny bit more. So I reckon probably if I say 30 mils of Underdog in this recipe into the buttercream. Hardly enough for me. It's not fair. Yeah, there you have your lager and lime butter icing. I'm going to put this to the side now. You can pop it into the fridge. It should be okay just left on the side because your cake's going to be coming out in a few minutes anyway. You're just going to need to let them cool before you actually go in with the icing, otherwise it will melt. Okay, so these cakes are out of the oven. They've been up for 10 minutes now, just resting in their tins. Now is where we are going to try and take them out of their tins and put them onto a cooling rack. And then the boring wait begins for them to cool down, and you really do want them to be like cool to the touch, because there's just no point in putting on icing on a warm cake because it's just going to slide off and just be a mess. Okay, so our cakes are out, they're nice and cool, and now you're ready to go on with the icing. So if it's been in the fridge, just give it a little stir around with a palette knife just to loosen it up again. It's really lovely consistency, you can see there, like whipped cream almost. So just pile some of that into the middle of your first round, pop it onto a serving board, a plate, bit of wood like that, if you have. Now, just gonna take that not quite to the edge, because obviously the other sponge is going to go on top and it's going to squidge out. Again, just dollop on your lager and lime buttercream into the middle. Oh, look at that. Doesn't look a lot of icing, but everyone loves buttercream icing. There we go. What I've got here is just the zest of one lime. So that I'm just going to sprinkle on top because it just makes a really nice little fresh decoration. And there we have it. Our Hope Underdog Hoppy Lager and lime cake with hoppy buttercream and lime icing.